Hey guys, it's So Watch. I'm your girl Treasure.
It's your girl Key.
And we're back with another video. Today we're going to be discussing and reviewing and ultimately canceling. No, I'm joking. But talking about Survival of the Thickest.
So like first round thoughts. I know that me and you were both like seeing this as like one of the new and up and coming. I was like, trash this one. And it's funny because the reason why we were like, we kind of wanted to both watch it is because Michelle Buteau is in it.
Yeah. And I know her always being like the background character, and she was in, if you guys have seen it, she was in Always Be Your Maybe by Ali Wong was in it. The Always Be Your Maybe. Have you seen it?
I have not watched it.
I've
heard of it though. I have not watched it though.
I'm like, it's good, but it's not good. Like, if you missed it, then you missed it. But if you watch it, like, I've seen it, like, a couple times. Like, I'll go back and rewatch it.
So you actually liked it, then, if you were rewatching it?
Yeah, I like it, but I don't know. There's sometimes, like, I can't explain why I go back and watch things, because it's not like it's that good. It's like I like mediocre things that I don't have to pay attention, but, like, it's easy to fall back into. Anyways.
What's so funny about it, though, I was completely wrong what this show was actually about. I was just about to say movie, because it could have honestly passed for being a movie, because it was on, 3-hour one, because each of the episodes, there are only 8 episodes, guys, but they're half an hour, so it's not too long where there's like a lot of filler stuff.
I mean, they could have probably just done this as a movie.
Yeah, like a 2-part like movie.
Yeah,
I really feel like they basically
could have done it as a movie, but I guess like maybe they have a bigger plan for where they want to go with it.
That's what I'm thinking too.
They're probably just like, okay, like
test it out.
Like just put it in and see how it happens, and then, okay, we're gonna get better next season.
Yeah, hopefully. For sure. And like the thing is, when I heard the title "Survival of the Thickest," I thought this was a competition show. Like I felt like this was like, you know my show, girl. You know my show, The Challenge. If y'all don't know The Challenge, y'all know off of MTV. Now it's on TV. I love that show, and I was like, I thought it was like maybe The Challenge, and it was like more like bigger girl. Like
no, I knew
that's what I thought it was gonna be. I was wrong.
A TV show, like I knew it was like a story, like TV show.
I was completely wrong, but hey, that could have been a good title for like an actual competition show.
But like, if it was, it'd be like,
what is it about?
Like why you're gonna have like, but yeah, like what would be the point?
Yeah,
I don't know. What would be the point? Like maybe to like have like thicker models.
Yes, maybe
and,
something like
having
that.
To try like next top model, but like next top thickie.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow, we just came with
another show. Netflix recharging you right now. Come and hit us up. But yeah, no, that's honestly what I thought it was. So I was completely wrong. But I mean, I'm happy I was correct because I actually really liked this. I actually liked the show more than what I thought, especially because the whole thing that this isn't a competition show, like. You know, because we actually haven't done an actual show that's like competition.
No, because
like
there's not really. I mean, we don't watch TV, so the only thing we'd be able to watch and like comment on is like,
is it Cake
like
too?
Disney Plus, or is it is it Netflix? Like,
but
yeah. So we're gonna like just jump on into it and just do like basic like recap and like character development and like where we think it's going, where maybe it's not going anywhere. And get into it. So the main character is Mavis
Beaumont. Mavis Beaumont, which is funny. So that's played by Michelle Buteau. So like she was saying,
definitely on purpose, like MB. She made sure.
I was saying that.
I was saying that.
The MB, because she had like a chain that said MB, and I'm like, oh, okay.
That's like her real chain in real life. I swear. Because like you made sure to make your character be MB. Because I believe that she actually like either produced this show or she wrote it or something.
She did. I think I saw it at the beginning. It said her name was
created by her or something. So she had something to do with it. So it was definitely like everything was basically on purpose, like by her.
100%.
And she wanted to tell this story for whatever reason. So.
And like the thing is, like I know her from the host of like The Circle and stuff like that. Let's get into it. So Mavis now. All right, so I actually really did like her character. Like Michelle Buteau is actually very, very funny. And it's not like that funny where like I'm pretty sure if she actually did like a stand-up, like she would actually still be like...
stand-up.
Oh, she has stand-up too?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. She'd probably be hilarious as heck. Like I was.
To be honest, I didn't find her funny. So.
Not in this one?
No, I didn't laugh at all. So I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if it was because... Honestly, I tried my hardest to like be 100% like tuned in, obviously for you guys, whatever. And I literally like I never laughed. There were some times when I like smiled like some. Okay, so basically for me, like if something's outright funny, like I will laugh, or it's like outright witty, like I will laugh and it's like a surprise, you know?
Okay.
But if it's something like, okay, I'm kind of expecting it, I kind of will smile instead of laughing.
Okay.
And so I smiled because I'm like, okay, that was obvious. But like, I can see how other people find it funny. But like, I'm too lazy to laugh. Like, I get like that. I don't know. It's weird about me. But so I got like that a couple times, but I never actually outright laughed.
Okay.
So
I will say, like, her character, from what I thought, she was funny. But it's so funny because her, like, I don't know how to say it. So, like, I get what you're saying about some of, like, the jokes and the puns. It was like, okay, yeah, it's going there. Okay, like, I kind of seen it coming. But I guess I'm just, like, easy to please because I was like, I still laughed. But then there's some parts where I was like, oh, that caught me off guard. And I was like, and then, like, I had to rewind just to hear it again. But you know what's funny? Majority of my laughs actually came from her friend Marley, which is Tasha Smith, for y'all who don't know. How Did I Get Married 1 and 2. Homegirl is like the hilarious, like, so loud,
funny.
so
And the
funny.
thing is about her, even though we're not really talking about characters, but the thing is about her is that she is played as like the comedic relief in movies and stuff like that. And just How Did I Get Married 1 and 2 is just the reasons I can think of. But she's in like other movies. She was in The Game, if you guys remember that, on BET.
Oh yeah, she was, yeah.
And she did like a guest appearance and stuff like that. And she, again, like comedic relief and stuff. And now she got like a lot of work done, and I was like, oh no, like, because at first I heard her voice and I'm like, okay, I know that voice.
Yeah.
And then I was like, is it her? And then I'm like, she smiled, and I'm like, hey, it's her, but she got like a lot of work done, and I'm like, I wish you didn't do that. But I mean, to each their own. But anyways, it was like a little bit hard to tell. So back to Mavis.
Okay, so her character itself, so she actually went through pretty much a good growth transformation. And the thing is, what I liked a lot about this show was that it was so much realistic of what people are actually dealing with, like, right now. Like, a lot of things that were happening in this, like, okay, obviously, like, from the beginning, from basically by the end of the first episode, guys can basically see that she's working in the, basically, I think, like, the fashion world, you know, trying to build her own brand. She's like a top stylist, where she's kind of a backup to this other guy. This company, she basically saves the show at the beginning and gives like a nice look, yada yada yada. You find now that she's basically heads like kind of like secondary stylist, and then her man, which is Jacques, which we'll get into him, is like the lead photographer and all that, and they're a couple. So it's almost like you guys, so I was like thinking like, okay, this is where this is gonna go. They're gonna see them go together, try to make their own brand together, da 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 da. Bonnie and Clyde, blah, blah. Okay, that was not it. Because obviously, by the time you get to the end of the episode, homeboy is cheating on her, and I was just like, oh, whoa, okay.
Yeah, she walks into him banging somebody else.
Yeah.
And immediately she's like, no. And then she leaves. And she ends up getting a apartment with a random person, like she met like online, and then gets an apartment with them. And that girl that she got, what's her name?
Jade.
She's kind of quirky.
Yeah, kind of weird.
She's kind of weird, but I think that it was there for like realism. Like, you know, like back in the day when it's like, oh, okay, I need to like get an apartment with somebody, and it's never anyone you know. It's always like I'm going online and then getting a roommate. It was like one of those things, like Craigslist type thing. So she basically did something like that. Yeah. And her best friend Khalil is like helping her move or whatever, and then she's like moving like on the subway, like, because it's in New York. Yeah, it's like in New York, so it's like moving on the subway, and I'm like, oh my god, hell to the no.
That would just suck.
No. Like, but I like it because it shows like her resilience. Like,
that's what I'm saying. What I like
there's no car, there's no like moving truck, like she's moving all of it like legit on the subway, and it's like wow.
And that's what I was saying, like, I like to care because, for what you said, like, the resilience. And, like, again, like I said, super realistic. Like, if that was to actually happen to you. Because, again, New York's hella expensive. Yeah. And, like, my girl working her way up. And, like, again, her boyfriend, Jock, is, like, well off. Like, he has money and stuff like that. So this wasn't like, oh, you get out, I get the apartment. This was like, okay, this is his apartment. Like, girl, I kind of gotta go. Yeah. So, you know, and it's, like, super realistic. Like, you find, like she said, like Trey said, like, you find someone off Craigslist, and it's always going to be, like, the weirdest person that you're like, oh, my gosh. Please, like, it gives you motivation to be like, I need to get out. But then obviously, you guys know how those stories go. Oh my god, the weirdest roommate ever. Oh my gosh. And then y'all become best friends, y'all kick it and all that, and it's like, okay, two peas in a pod, right? So I love to carry the resilience. It is super realistic. I love the fact though that also too that she ended up not going back to him, even though it would have been so much easier for her to do it.
You mean like, so basically when she, you know, meets her roommate and everything like that, And it's like, holy hell, because I think she's like baby oil on like every fabric or something.
Yeah, something
just
super weird.
Virgin oil or baby oil or something like that on all of like her fabric and stuff like that, and like has like cats and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the hell, like, am I gonna do here? And like her room is like a mess, like the place is just weird.
Smells bad.
And like the
Marley
shower
said.
hasn't been cleaned. Like it's just weird, and it gives you like every indication that she's gonna be like, screw this, I'm going back. Because she lived basically like the richer lifestyle because of Jacques. So she doesn't, and it's like, okay, again, like the resilience showing and
I couldn't
showing
deal with
the strength
it.
of her character.
I honestly, girl, that apartment and that smell, I forgot what her friend said it smelled like. It was funny as hell though when she said it. Was so funny because I'm like, I know everybody, I wish I knew what the line was, but it was like she said something about how it smells like, I don't know, it was like something like, oh, Band-Aids or rotten Band-Aids or something that was really funny, and I'm like, hey, everybody knows that smell. I think she said it was like rotten freezer smell or whatever, like something like that, and like everyone knows what that smell is, and I'm like, ugh, to imagine what that apartment was, I would literally take my hand to the tires, spray. I couldn't
even with you, like, literally, if I had to help you in a situation ever, like, back in the day, well, not that you're dating anyone, but I just don't want to wish anything upon you now, like, back in the day or something like that, and, we walk in, and I'm like, she's not lasting. Like, literally, I would see it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna turn around and like help with your
take yourself out
because like I know you're not staying.
I couldn't do it because I'm such a.
You wouldn't have enough sanitizer in the world.
I wouldn't have. Super OCD. I wouldn't have, and like the smell, I couldn't even. But it was super funny though too because like literally when she's packing up her stuff and Khalil takes his Fendi jacket and then he's like, wait, that's my jacket, and he's like, you don't need it. Take all of his stuff. I was like dying.
Oh my gosh,
I was like dying. That was hilarious. But like again, loved her resilience in it. It was super funny whenever she went downstairs to that little grocery store with that brown guy, and like she's like, can you help me get the chocolate Pop-Tarts?
And the woman, which is basically the owner of the apartment,
which is his mom.
And she's like, you're trying to cut my son or whatever. He's like, what, he's 19?
Like 19 or something.
And she's like, he is? Because he's like flirting up with her and everything like that too, and it's like, he's 19, and she's like, oh shoot.
And he's like bubbling on her on the back, like,
and she's like, I gotta go. So basically, in the beginning, like, that happened in little ways, but she ends up like hooking up with someone, and it's like basically like one of those things. It's like the first hookup after your ex, and it was
someone you know, and it's like, oh yeah,
someone that like was basically like hitting on her hoard, and then they wake up and she's like, like, why did I do this? But again, is like one of those things where it's like so realistic. Like, I feel like most people, like, after you have a breakup, the first hookup, you're like, yeah, I wasn't feeling it, but like I just needed to do something to like basically like get back at your ex. But even though like you guys are broken up, but like if your ex was to hear about it, like they'd be mad, right? So it's like one of those things. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I related to that completely. And then after that, she's like, okay, sorry, you gotta go. And she just gets on, like, about her business after that. Like, she's like, okay, work, I need to, like, figure this out because I want this and this for my life. So I'm going to go and do that. So as we move forward, we kind of get to know, like, Khalil, too. And I honestly, when I first saw him, I thought he was gay.
Me, too. 100%.
I thought he was gay.
I thought he
was, too. And then they, like, kind of early on tell you that he's, like, a fuckboy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah,
with gay guys, and then it was like, oh no, he dates women, because then when he's helping her on the train, there's like the top hat girl, and he's like, nope, can't talk to her, and I'm like, oh, so he's straight.
Yeah,
I literally was. I thought it's only because like everything has, you know, like LGBTQIA. I was like, okay, this is gonna be this, but yeah, there wasn't in him. It was throughout the show, but it wasn't in him.
Yeah.
And so whenever he ends up, you know, classic like F-boy, like he ends up meeting someone that like makes him want to change his ways, and like all the like the feelings like sneak up on him, and he has to like learn to like kind of like be like a good boy and
court a woman,
exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, what do you think about India? Because I was not. I mean, I liked her, but I was like, after the whole thing with the ex, and it was like, and like he's like trying, and she knows that like this is like a first for him. And he's like, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm sorry. Like, my ex, like, has a say. Which I understand, like, it's their kid together. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, you shouldn't let your ex prohibit you from developing a relationship.
Like, she was okay. I did think it was a little bit much for you to be like, okay, Khalil can't come with her, go to her kid's birthday party because the dad's like, no, it's too soon. And I'm like, then again, we don't know in retrospect how long this timeline
We don't know,
was.
but at the same time, like, you
like,
introduce the kid, and if the kid is asking, like, are you gonna come? And he's saying,
that's what I'm saying.
No, I can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
especially, like, the kid got to know him, and then he likes him and stuff. So if the kid wants him to go, then I think he should.
Yeah.
If the kid doesn't care, then fine.
Yeah.
Then I'm not gonna come, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the kid doesn't want me there. In general, though, like, even if I was dating your mom for years and you don't want me to go, I'm not gonna go to your birthday party, you know?
Yeah.
But if the kid was like, yeah, you're gonna come, and he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, no. It's, like, one of those things for me that I was, like, he was so nice to the kid. Like, he was, like, it's funny. In that whole moment that whenever he's, like, helping the kid make a present for some girl he likes him. It was really sweet that he did that because he had that moment with him, not with his dad, which you would have thought he would have had it with his dad, but he had it with him. So it's, like, Khalil's learning to just become, like, go into a relationship, but now he's also learning how to be, like, kind of father figure-ish. So that was, like, a lot, and he actually did pretty good with it. So I was like, nah. She should have let him go and be like, F what the ex says. I don't care if you have, I get that you have a say, but what is he doing? Nothing. He's coming to a birthday party.
Exactly.
We've already hung out before. It's not like we're going to a family reunion. It's the kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
But
like,
even, like, regardless of what it is, it's like at the same time.
I didn't like
at the same time. I didn't either. At the same time, it's like, regardless of me and your relationship, and I understand, like, it's hard to see, especially, like, your ex-wife and the mother of your child moving on, and is before me.
Yeah. That's what it was too.
Yeah, before me. It's hard, whatever, but it's like, just, I feel like if you have a kid, you have to grow up.
Yeah.
Grow up. By the end of the season, like, they end up, like, breaking up, and I think he was rightfully so. Like, he's like, I think you need to figure it out, and she's like, this is just how it is, and he's like, okay, cool. Bye. Peace. And so Mavis makes waves, and she basically has to do an ultimatum. Either she's going to work with the person that kind of brought her up and made her name known, or she's going to drop her because she wants her to be exclusive to her.
Right. Oh, yes.
Which is Natasha.
Natasha, yeah. Okay.
And so Mavis decides, no, like, my goal is to build my brand, and I can't do that with just staying your exclusive stylist, so I have to go. And she's like, okay, which is, like, again, resilient, again, brave, again, like,
trusting in yourself. Like,
I'm doing what I want. Like, I have to do what I want because, you know, I'm assuming too, like, in any relationship, but like, in any relationship, whatever, there's compromise, right?
Oh, always.
And so that means you're not, literally, compromise is you not getting what you want.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'm not in that anyway. I don't have to compromise for anything, for anybody.
That's right.
I'm getting what I want, and that's it. Like, enough said. And she's like, and I know, like, when she had, like, the panic attack, again, like, this whole entire thing about the show was, like, really, really relatable.
Like, what's happening now, everything you deal with, it's, like,
everything is really, really relatable, and everything is kind of, like, natural instinct. So I don't think you can wrong the show on, like, plot, because it's just relatable really to, like, what happens to people. But anyways, continuing on, so she gets, like, a panic attack and everything, and she's like, oh my god, did I make the right choice? Again, relatable. Yeah. And then she continues on, talk about dating life with her. Yeah. So during this, whatever, she had the first guy that she slept with, whatever, she's like, you're gone. Then she meets Luca, and Luca is, like, I don't even remember how they met.
Okay, so she was doing a show. I think, for a different client. Yes, she was doing a show for another client that she got. And the client was, I think she was performing, and then she had a malfunction with her dress. The strap broke or whatever, and she had to go in the back. She was trying to figure out, oh my gosh, how do I fix this? She has to go back on stage, like, you know. She ended up passing by Luca, which he was sitting there with a friend that was gay. So she takes his time. She's like, I need to borrow this, to to a random guy, which is crazy. Big time, like, wow, like, you're going up to some guy in a suit. Like, I would have been scared as hell not to go up with the guy in the suit. I would have gone with someone else. But goes up to him in the suit, takes the suit, ties it up for the girl. Homegirl goes and slays the stage, whatever. He comes back to the backstage to be like, I need my tie back. And then you just think that when he says, oh, I just need my tie back. And then he's like, actually, also, I want to actually, like, take you out on a date. It was so funny. Yeah, I remember that. Because Peppermint's like, go get that. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah. I love Peppermint. Peppermint was actually my favorite character.
I liked Peppermint too.
Favorite character of the whole entire thing. And then that's kind of how they kind of started that whole thing, and they go on a date. I did not think that they were actually going to make him Italian, though. Like, that was, like, so, like, oh. And he actually spoke some Italian, which is interesting. I don't think he really is Italian, though, but good for that.
I mean, would you get a fake Italian to play Italian? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, and he actually lives in Italy, so he, like, travels there, like, sometimes for, like, a while, and then he'll, like, leave and come back for work and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they start, like, dating and stuff like that, the mom has, like, huge issue with it because she wants Mavis to be with Jacques, and this entire time, like, Jacques is basically, like, trying and, like, apologizing and trying to get Mavis back, and she's just like, no,
just bumping into each other.
Yeah, and then, and also too, because his circle is, like, in hers, because he's literally a photographer for, like, stylist, so it's hard to, like, get away from him, basically.
And they were together 6 years?
They're together for a while.
I think it's 6.
I think it is 6 years.
6 years.
I think it was 6.
Yeah,
but
like 6. A long time.
They're together for a few years. And so then, towards, like, the end, she gets super, super busy once she quit her job with Natasha.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, she didn't take her offer.
Yeah, when she didn't take the offer to be exclusive to her, and she's like, nope, I want to build my own brand, so I guess bye. And she gets super, super busy. Actually, no, that's before. She gets super, super busy because she has to work with 2 different people before the exclusivity ultimatum happened with Natasha. And so she doesn't really have time for Luca because he's back in Italy. And so then she basically just freaks out about all of it, like, together, like, her relationship and, like, her work life, and she just, like, what the hell, not sleeping and everything like that. And I think it was, again, one of those things where it's just, like, thinking about what you want and yet being, like, one person to make it happen in a day type thing.
Right. Or everything's happening, like, so fast. Everyone's coming at you, giving you advice and saying things. Your mom, you know, classic again. Like I'm going to say, we're going to probably say it throughout this whole show. Super realistic. Your mom coming to you and saying, hey, you know, you're getting up at that age now. You should just da-da-da. You want to go and have your family, blah, blah, blah. Like, how often does that happen when you're, like, 30? Because I think she was 38. Yeah, 38.
Yeah, she's 38 and she wants kids. So her mom's like, you need to just get back with Jacques so you
like,
guys can have the kids.
Yeah, right. And, like,
and get married. Like, you're with him for so long, just go back with him. I want grandkids.
Yeah. And it's like, what person does not go through that from their parents at a certain point?
Yeah.
Like, when you're getting, it's probably like every conversation. When are you getting married? When are you getting married? And the funniest thing about that whole thing is because her mom's, like, super Christian. So it's like when she comes to go visit her, she didn't know she was coming. And, like, her and Luke are actually having sex in Jacob's in the room.
Yeah.
She's like, your mother's here. And she's like, oh, this is not the right time to come in. And she's like, oh, you want to come? I was dying. That wasn't funny.
That was funny. That was funny, but
she's like, do you want to come first? I was dying. I was like, oh, I was not expecting that, but that's funny. And then, like, mom's fully praying, okay, please, we'll let this man just go home so she can. I was like, wow.
Yeah. The mom was quite
typical, though.
The thing is, though, is, like, the mom was very, like, conservative, I guess to say. And it was, like, a direct, like, contrast between the two of them, like, mother and daughter. And it was like, when Mavis is like, I honestly just never felt supported by you because I always did everything wrong. I didn't even seem like they didn't really want me around or anything like that. It was like, okay, yeah, I get that, because their mom is so cold, but it's like, I love you, but, you know, I just represent it in a different way and say it in a different way. And I guess she was closer to, like, her dad and stuff like that. And the dad was, like, the softie of the family.
Yeah. It was like,
but the mom, oh my gosh, like,
but you know what? It's so relatable because it's like the mom, especially when they go and we'll talk about it a little bit later when they talk about the story of what happened to her in her childhood and how her mom responded. It seems like the mom is coming from, okay, I'm going to teach you tough love because this world you're going to need it. Because it's
the problem I have though is like whenever parents are like, I'm going to do tough love, it's like you're not supposed to though. And and to me. As a parent, you're not supposed to do tough love because, please don't come for me, I know I'm not a parent, but because the world is tough. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying to be super easy on your kids and give them everything that they want. Right. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're supposed to be the one that I can go and hug. You're supposed to be the one that's supposed to kiss my boo-boos. That's what you're here for. That's what you're supposed to be doing for me. Because who else is going to do it? Life's not going to do it. Life is hard. So whenever I do fall from life, you're supposed to help me up.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So that's why I just don't agree with that. But anyways, moving forward. So after that whole thing, Mavis, you know, has Billy and discussing that they don't want to go to prom because they know that there's like restrictions basically about them being non-binary, and so they're like, I'm not gonna feel accepted, what is the point of going? And Mavis is like, nope, it's a rite of passage, like you should go. And then she comes up with the bright idea to like, okay, well, I'm gonna design a prom for you so everyone in the LGBTQIA can feel accepted. And that's the thing, like, this show is literally one of the strongest shows to show support to the LGBTQIA
100%,
without the main character being a part of that group.
Yeah.
And it literally was like, I don't know, it felt like kind of like a tribute to that community, to like that Michelle wanted to be like, I accept you as like a person. That's what it really felt like the most. So like, if you guys are a part of that, I'd highly recommend like the show. Not because it's like just all the support in it. Like, I don't know, it feels so supportive.
It felt good. Like, it felt like really good to see. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, it made me feel like actually like really, really good for them. And again, some of the stuff she was saying in it, and well, what her character is saying, the reason why she wanted to create her own brand was dedicated to them and like making them, let them be seen and be. I forgot what she said. It was a great line though, what she was saying of why she wanted to do it and have her own brand, and basically allow them to be able to share their light and not have to hide in the darkness, kind of, sort of, something like that. It was way more brilliant than that. Like, it was a great speech. But yeah, no, it sounded really good. And the thing is this too, right? I know we talked about it before in Bridgerton and stuff like that, about how they make almost every show now, every movie has someone from the LGBTQ plus community, which is totally fine. I have nothing against it. And we were talking before about how sometimes they make it too much on screen when it's like couples and stuff like that. But because this wasn't, the main character wasn't that, you didn't really see a lot of that and stuff like that. But it was a really, really good dose. I would like to say that it wasn't, you know, too much, even though a lot of the characters were, it wasn't like too bad. And I don't think there was any like love scenes and stuff like that. So I guess it's not the same as original, but just to talk on the sense that with all that in it and stuff, it was actually a good, like, if you're somebody that is like, you know, that's not your thing, which again, everybody has their own opinion, don't worry. Even though this is really supported it, don't worry, you'll still be able to enjoy it without being like, oh my gosh. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're funny. Like, the characters are so funny in this. Like, I loved it. We kind of see now that after she has her panic attack, you know, she kind of was like, hey, this is it. I figure out what I want. I want to go and have kids. So then she goes back to Jacques.
She goes back to him, and he proposes to her, and she's just like, okay, because at the end of the day, like, I am getting up there in age, and this is you've been trying, you've been having going, a kid, whatever. Yep. And then towards the end, she kind of realizes that I'm not going to settle. Nope. Which is something that I want to talk about after. Yeah. She goes, I'm not going to settle, and then she gives him back the ring, because at the same time while she's doing that, she keeps thinking about Luca and he's basically just in the back of her mind and like stays there, and then she's just like, okay. That he's who I really want. And so she gives the ring back to Jacques, and she's like, I'm sorry, like, and you know what's interesting to me is that she's like, I'm sorry, but we're broken, and like, we're not good for each other, which is weird to me, because you guys were together for 5 years, and like, yeah, he cheated, but like, if you threw that away, like, because, you know, men apparently are supposed to cheat on you, that's a whole other topic, but you guys weren't ever good together, which makes sense, because why did he never marry you if you guys were there that long and you lived together? What I'm saying. And so even you knew too at that time that something wasn't clicking in my mind. So I'm like, interesting, but and your friends never liked him either. Exactly. So that's always. I feel like if you're friends with your friends and you trust them and like they're like your best friends and they don't like the person you're with. Not even because, like, at that time, like, he hadn't done anything. Like, he never cheated on her before. Yeah. So, he never did anything, like, whatever. Then it's kind of, like, sketchy. Like, they just immediately meet him and don't like his energy. Something's up. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, like, super true. Sorry, I was just laughing at the part when her and Jacques actually got together, and Riley's like, no. And he's, like, trying to talk to her and be like, oh, so, and she's like, bye. No, bye. And doesn't entertain it. She's like, I don't even care. Don't even I'm like, that's me. Funny as hell. That was funny. Literally me, like, yeah.
Yeah, that was so funny.
And anyway, so they end up breaking up. And so after that, they have like the good prom, and the prom is successful and everything like that. And then she realizes basically what she needs to do. And so you see her calling Luca.
Oh, I love this.
And
so nice.
She calls Luca, and then she's like, I'm so sorry, like, I did accept his, which I like that she was like straight up honest. And she's like, I'm sorry, which I like too, that she made happen in this show, because you know how like when a show happens, they keep the secret back, so like in the next season it's like, oh, he can find out, and that can be drama later on.
Yeah,
I like that she said it right up front, because I don't like that, like, that easy like key to use, you know. So she calls him, she like apologizes, whatever, and like, I did accept his proposal, whatever, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna need time to think about this. And then there's like a knock on the door, and she's like, is this enough time? And then, yeah, they like kiss, and then the door closes, and then the show ends.
Yeah, perfect.
And
soulmates,
so,
like, you, like, it's
I don't know about that. I never saw them enough together to know.
Well, yeah, because there's only like 2
I just knew that
episodes
she wasn't for. I just knew that I didn't want Jacques, because like once you cheat,
yeah, it's hard to get back past that.
Once you cheat, like, you're gonna cheat. And that's the thing too, like, whenever the dad said, oh, well, I've cheated once on your mom and you know about it, and it fixed our relationship and we're better than ever. And okay, yes, that can happen with some men, but I don't recommend you staying to figure out if they're going to. Like, men are like a dime a pack. Like, I don't know. I just, they're like...
No, it's... To be honest, it would be really hard for her to really trust him every time you're going to be leaving the apartment. And you're like, hey, am I going to come back?
Yeah, let me just...
Like, that was pretty traumatizing.
Like, that's too much... That's too much work.
That's too much work.
No,
that's too much work. And like I said, like, not to say that you go back to a cheater or whatever. Every situation is different. You make your choices, right? But in her situation, it's like, the way how she found out was, okay, I'm coming into my apartment. You guys are right there in the flipping living room. But like, it's not like you're in the bedroom, but it's like, for me now, every time I open the door, I'm like, thinking, terrified. Is it going to be there? Where it's completely different if it's like, oh, I saw you downstairs in the lobby, or I saw you for coffee, or someone saw you on a phone. Like, that's a completely different thing. Yeah. That is like, no.
But you know another thing? Okay, the only time I think it's applicable to take back a cheater is like, if they told you. Because then that's whenever they're like, oh, shoot.
Yes.
I realized I really, really love you. Because who knows if that was the first time he just got caught that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he cheated and he ends up telling you and you had no indication whatsoever that he was going to cheat, which means he could have gone away with it, but he felt so bad and like loves you that much that he knows that he made a mistake or whatever. Yeah. Then I would say take back a cheater. But other than that, if he never told me and he's been doing it, like... And
you never came clean and someone else had to come and tell me, but...
Yeah, anything else besides what I said, like, no.
No.
So I was like, okay, cool. She finally, like, smartened up and was like, no, I'm not doing that. No matter what the peer pressure is from, like, my doctor, my mother, I'm not going to settle for him.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And the comfortness, like, I'm not going to settle. And then, so she went and goes to Luca. And that's basically how it ends. The ending.
Okay, right.
From cliche to actually being, like well-suited for this show.
In all honesty... I was kind of like well suited for the show, to me. And I'm going to tell you why. Because again, for me personally, I wasn't actually expecting that. I actually thought the conversation was going to end and she was going to be like, okay, they go their separate ways, I'm going to think. And then I'm like, okay, that's it. It's done. And you're left with, okay, who knows what's going to happen. Okay. Fill in the blank, basically, per se. And then that's where I was thinking, okay, the way how it was before, that I was expecting to be like fill in the blank. It's like basically like, okay, you're actually together. I thought it was cool how she called him and then she ended up going to Italy. I thought it was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that for the show. And all honesty, I was not expecting it for this show, to be honest, after that whole conversation, because of all the conversation it was prior to that. He was saying, I really need to think about this. Like, and she kind of just did a word vomit on him. So I was like, okay, I was not expecting it to end that way. But go ahead. So I'm assuming she has an opposite opinion because her face.
I do.
Her face isn't all.
I think for me, like, it ended like cliche, which is fine. Like, I'm okay with cliches. Like, I really am okay with cliches, especially like there's so much like movie, TV show content out there. Like, it's really going to be really hard to come up with something that we've never seen before.
Different.
Like, it's really, really hard. So, fine. I'm okay with cliches. I love cliches. However, for how the feeling of the show went and how the feeling of the ending went, I feel like it was like an easy thing to just do to end it. Okay. And it felt more whimsical than the show was. Okay. If that makes sense. Like, to me, the show was like a statement piece. Okay. And the ending was not a statement piece.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay.
So there was like a disconnect there for me. Gotcha. Not that I didn't like it, but it felt like a different part of it. Felt like a different show. So yeah.
Too fairy tale-y. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. So it was almost like, sorry to cut you off. So for you, it was almost like the pieces didn't match. I like both of these pieces. They look good, but it doesn't match because of everything that was happening was so realistic. And there was so much of what's happening now. You know, this was like, no, this isn't like,
you know, when you're building a puzzle. And like you can fit a piece in and it fits, but then you look at the picture and it's like two different pictures. It doesn't actually match. That's not right. Yeah. Not because it doesn't fit, but because it doesn't match picture wise. That's what it was.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. No, I like that. I really do like that. I like that take. That's a very good take. It's so funny too. One of the issues about this that actually what I liked about this show was that incident whenever he's painting, he gets hired to paint the mural on the side of that coffee shop. And, you know, homegirl Karen comes and she's like, I'm not showing you nothing. And then she's like, India did what I think most of us are going to do that care. Oh, just go and show her. We don't want any trouble. And he's like, no, I'm not showing her nothing. Like, it's my, like, who is she? Like, you know, that whole moment. What do you think about that moment? Because that is such a...
I think both of them are right.
Yeah. That's what I said
both
to him.
Both of them are right and both of them are wrong. Because he has every right to be like, I don't have to show you anything. You're not the police, whatever. Yeah, go ahead. Call the police. India being like, oh, please just show her. Like, I just don't want any drama. Men are so headstrong to have a fight first and apologize later. And women are so like, I'd rather not fight at all. Let's do it now. So, you know, they're both right. And again, like everything was just super realistic. Like I could see that happening completely. It would 100%. And happens all the time, right? So I think like they're both right. I can say like I'd 100% do exactly what India did. Like because I think a lot of I just wouldn't want the police to come, and especially like if I see my man's exterior getting hardened. I know that if the police came, something bad could happen. I'm in New York. Yeah. So something bad could happen, and I'd rather just not have that happen, so I'd rather just cut that off so they don't even end up showing up here because they could say that he did something and it's like, no.
Pull a gun and shoot.
Thought he has a gun and he has like the whole spray can bottle. Like, I'm not going through any of that. Yeah, so
that could have made the show go real left, actually. Exactly. Like, in all honesty, like real left, and now we're talking about police brutality.
So I'm like, I get 100% both of those
Thank goodness. I'm actually happy they didn't go that route. It would have been good for the show because it's so realistic of like what's happening, but I'm happy they didn't go that route because I was not ready for all that. Oh,
I think they want to make it a little bit more whimsical,
Because I would have been like, no, if something like if that actually went that way, I would have been like, oh no.
It'd be hard to get the show back on track though. It would be for what I think her vision was for the show. Exactly, it'd be way too hard to get her show back on track. So like, I don't think they could do it.
Yeah, they couldn't do it for that. But like I said, in that
I'm glad that they did put it in though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like when I was watching it, I was like literally my heart was like, please don't go this route, like with this whole thing. She brought up a valid point. Like it's actually really stupid. Why is she calling the police instead of going in to get the store?
And it's not her building anyways. Like no, she's none like of it made any, like she's really like just acting like a Karen, like Mavis said.
So the thing is, what she was trying to basically say, she's like on some board for the community, whatever stupid thing like that. Some board of the community. I'm on the board of trustees, whatever, some kind of thing like that. That's what her whole thing really was. But it's like, why are you calling the police? Go get the store owner. Like that's where I'm like, you're going super extra. Why are you calling the police? Call the store owner and be like, hey, that man's ruining your store. Like, but she wants to call the police. Like, I was just like, okay, whatever, boy, bye. But it was funny because that whole moment, even though they got into an argument, a fight, which I thought he was rude as hell. Thank God Khalil apologized because I'm like, you were being so rude.
Oh, when they almost broke up and she was about to thump his ass? Yeah. Because I would have, like, excuse me? And Mavis was like, let's smoke. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then he apologized. Yeah, 100%. That was proper. Because he was 100% in the wrong then. No way you're talking to me like that. You're talking to me like that. Don't ever talk to me like that. Yeah. Don't ever talk to me like that.
And still, it's one of those things too, which is very interesting, is parents that have us that are in that situation where we have colored children and someone calls them the N-word or calls them some very derogatory term. How do you respond as a parent? Do you tell the kid, go ahead, fight back, whatever, or do you tell them, nope, don't do that, just don't listen to them, blah blah blah? Like how? What is
damned if you don't.
That's literally what it is.
And I guess it's like either put your kid in MMA so they can defend themselves when they are going to start the fight, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
or it's like if your kid is like the wimpy kid, like keep your mouth shut and then tell a teacher.
Yeah, but we all know.
Like, you have to pick. I know, but
You
like,
literally have to
but you're
pick,
damned
yeah.
if you do, damned if you don't. Because
Yeah.
like, okay, is the teacher really gonna say anything? Depending on who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, until you have to take up with the board, and hopefully someone colored is on the board so you can work something out.
Yeah.
That's a long route. Or the fighting thing, you're gonna be kicked out of school,
Yeah,
or
you can't do
someone's
that.
gonna press charges or something like that. Then there's like the whole police brutality again entering that whole situation. And again,
you can't do that.
impossible to get out of. So either way, impossible to
It's
like figure out what to do. I just think, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
No, that's
it's a
sucky
hard
situation.
thing.
Yeah, it's a super sucky situation because at that time to be using that. Okay, first of all, the kids that are using that.
I mean, I'm surprised the kid is using that word anyway.
Yeah, no, like literally.
If they were saying it like to sing a song, that's different.
That's different
because obviously it's still in. I think they should just take it out of the dictionary, personally.
Yeah, no.
Like, let's just delete that word. I hate that word.
I actually hate it too.
I hate that word. Like, even my friends say it, like, and I'm like, my friends say it, and like, they're like, brown.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of that word.
They're not even
really
like, you know, part of that community, but
still, I don't like the word
like, let's just take the word out.
Don't
like,
use it.
please, like, I think like we should start a movement. Let's just take the word out of the dictionary, out of songs, like, remove the word.
I get really that word.
And if anything, like, just say noir.
Noir.
Like,
noir
black
actually
and
sounds...
French. Noir sounds classy. Noir sounds better. Like, let's just remove that word
not bad.
at the end. So like full rating.
Yep, I would give it a 6.
So you wouldn't watch it again?
No, 5 and above means I'd watch it again.
Oh, you're not watching
6,
it again.
I would watch it again. Oh, I would definitely watch it again. But I wouldn't watch I'd watch from to be honest, I would rewatch it again from episode 1 through 8. I would. But in all honesty, if I was to keep my enjoyment level high, I would have to go from episode probably 3 onward. Because the first couple is first 3 onward. Yourself? What rating are we giving it?
I guess a 5.
5?
I guess a 6.
Okay. But you're not going to watch it again?
No. But when I watch season 2, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's not bad.
So.
That's not bad.
Anyways, guys, let us know what you think. Let us know what your favorite moment is. And would you have wanted them to show a full report and go all the way with the whole Karen issue and the police brutality thing? Or did you like that they ended it where they did and kind of kept it moving after that? Yeah, let us know your thoughts down below. This is Treasure out.
Key out.